gentlemen. Today, I'm reporting on a critical issue that continues to shape international business in a rapidly globalizing world: the importance of cultural awareness. My source for this report is the Airstreet blog from an article titled The Importance of Cultural Awareness in International Business, originally published in November 2024 and updated in January 2025. This article highlights a reality that many global companies learn the hard way. Success in international business is not determined by strategy and capital alone, but by how well organizations understand and respect culture. In today's global marketplace, culture is not just background context. It is a decisive factor that can determine whether a business succeeds or fails. When companies misunderstand cultural norms, the consequences can be severe. Negotiation may break down, teamwork can weaken, and even well-planned market entry strategies can completely collapse. For example, a company may enter a foreign market with a strong product and competitive pricing, yet fail to connect with local employees or customers. This disconnect often stems not from poor management, but from a lack of cultural awareness. This is where human resources play a crucial role. Human resources are at the heart of cultural adaptation in international business. International human resources managers are not only responsible for hiring and payroll employees, but they must also ensure that companies' policy align with local laws, social value, and cultural expectations. Compensation structure, benefits, working hour, and communication style differ significantly from one country to another. A policy that works well in one region may be ineffective or even offensive in another. For example, a Western human resources approach often emphasizes informality, open discussion, and flat organizational structure. While this may work well in countries like the United States or part of Europe, it may clash with Asian culture, where hierarchy, seniority, and respect for authority are deeply valued. This shows us that human resources is not just about contract and payroll system. Human resources is about understanding people, their value, tradition, and expectation, and designing policies that reflect those cultural realities. To better explain these cultural differences, I turn to Hostif's cultural dimension theory, a widely used framework in international business. Hofstede's model helps us understand how cultural values influence workplace behavior, leadership style, and human resources practice. Another important dimension is communication style. A direct communication style may work well in countries like the United States, where clarity and efficiency are valued. However, in Japan, communication tends to be more indirect. Saving face, maintaining harmony, and avoiding open confrontation are essential cultural practice. If human resources policies ignore these differences, misunderstandings are almost inevitable. Performance evaluation, feedback session, and leadership approach must all be adapted to fit cultural expectation. Innovative framework also help us understand differences in attitude toward uncertainty. Some culture prefer strict rule, structure, and predictability, while others are more comfortable with flexibility and risk-taking. These preferences directly affect human resources practice, such as decision-making, innovation, and employee motivation. My key takeaway from this article is clear. Cultural awareness is not a soft skill, it is a business strategy. Successful international business depends not only on financial capital, technology, or market size, but on what can be called cultural capital. Respecting traditions, adapting human resources policies, and building inclusive workplace are what truly sustain global operation. For me, Hofstede's cultural dimensions are no longer just academic theory. They explain why human resources practice must be tailored to culture, and why companies that ignore this reality place themselves at serious risk. The downfall does not come from a lack of resources. It comes from a lack of cultural awareness. This is the hidden risk of globalization. Ignoring this culture can undo even the strongest business plans. As a journalist reporting on this issue, I see the real competitive edge in international business not in technology alone, but in decoding cultures, adapting HR practice, and building trust. That is the true story of international business today, and it is a story that we as a future leaders must carry forward. Thank you.